Diesel, Rashida, Mindscaping,
QTM, go!
Hello everyone, and welcome to Creating the Message. I'm Kato, they, them, and tonight I'm joined by Eli, he or she. How are you doing, Eli?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excited for this game here. We're at the finals of the chase, what we're calling the chase bracket
The losers final. Yeah.
U.S. East Coast Nats 2024. We've got here on the left Paillu playing Freedom, and on the right we have I can never say his name.
Rongydoge, or just
Rongydoge. Playing Near Earth Hub.
And also notably, this was a rematch because Paillu had already lost to the NEH on Freedom during the cut.
Rounds.
During the cut.
Okay.
So this was
cut.
like a yeah. So this was a revenge match, basically.
Spectacular. All right, let's get into it.
So I mean, the other thing here is that because it's a tag me Freedom, it's fairly vulnerable. I mean, there's a lot of sort of unevenness with this matchup, specifically like because it's tag me, it's a little more vulnerable to the tag punishment, and then also the fact that I believe it has no ice, so a lot of the like ice destruction stuff is kind of useless.
So basically, in this NEH, we can expect it to be tag punishment damage. The table carnage lists of the past have had, I believe they've had Reaper functions before, right? Which is the reason that he plays with this mat. Which is just a great little bluff. I mean, is it in there or isn't it? It probably is.
I mean, it's a great frickin' mat, honestly.
Yeah, it's a great art.
Yeah, I mean, Reaper function's really good in NEH, just because you're installing like so many cards. I mean, Rongydoge did mulligan here, so I wonder if he installed 3 cards, but I wonder if he mulled for the end of the line, because the thing is, like I said, while it is a tag me Freedom, Freedom can trash those end of the lines if he sees them. So
right, that's one of the big ways you avoid tag punishment is just getting rid of it. Seeing it in the hand and tossing it into the trash.
Yeah. So seeing
got
an
a fermenter
oppo
down. Yeah. Seeing an oppo from hand.
Yeah, I mean it's really very much a race here, and it's like this whole game ends up being like really tense. But so there's a lot of different combos here. We don't have the exact list. But it's definite. There's a lot. There's Reaper function. There's end of the line. I'm pretty sure there's wage workers, and then I think there's 1 or 2 mindscapings as well. And mindscaping is just like it's a good combo, especially if you get all of your assets trashed. And also we see, federal fundraising is also really good.
Yeah, I believe one of the 3 cards at least that we saw there was a re-education. I don't believe that Rongy, actually there it is, he just drew it.
Okay. So there is
not
re-education.
Sorry, the other one, Degree Mill.
Degree
I keep
Mill.
saying the wrong name. Got install.
Right.
A pretty standard NEH turn, it feels like.
Yeah. It's a lot of installs. I mean, and also, so again, don't have the exact list, but I know that, there's no Bologna. So basically it's 3 Degree Mills. And then if I remember correctly, this deck has like Fly on the Wall. I don't think it has Orbital Superiority, which is something that Barfthul had. But I think, and again, I think it also had AR enhanced security, which is not something Table Carnage had, but that was likely because Bologna is just so good.
Right.
So we see the YDL.
Gonna leave that in hand. Not willing to
Yeah.
spend both fermenter counters on that.
Yeah, because also it's like, I think it's, you know, in this game, what your paillu wanted to save all of their virus counters for the kill pieces, and
Yeah.
while YDL is technically like a kill piece in other decks, it's less important here. And for stuff like that, like for wage workers, is a combo enabler, so that would be
Right.
something you definitely go after. YDL is like fairly marginal.
So
And
I
it's the
believe
first
there
oppo.
was
Yeah.
triple regolith with the wage workers click doing an oppo.
It's
Getting
just a little
money.
oppo for now,
Just
but
a lopo.
baby oppo. So
Already
here,
on two tags without having our usual tag piece out God of War, which you probably won't need this matchup, right? Like I suspect there's not
there's
very
no
many
ice.
ice at all.
No, there's no ice. And we see a patchwork in hand. And yeah, it's like anything that breaks ice or whatever, it's basically hit points. So here, paillu wants to get all of the kill pieces, the combo enabler. Gaslight's a very big important one.
Right.
So now it's because it has all this money, you know, you can pretty much trash anything. So, you know, the spin doctor is going to be important here, and that's, yeah, you're going to have stuff go back in there. So it's
We've already
probably...
been oppoed once, so why not trash more things? It's fine.
Right, exactly.
We're not scared of the tags yet.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, I think, again, it's the HQ is a little more unreliable. So it's like you just have to basically go after everything, because you have to make sure that nothing, there's no Reaper function on the board, there's no... Malia is another one that could disable certain cards. Like, Malia would disable... I believe there's one or two Malias. I think there's one Malia in here. Maybe there isn't. But Malia is something that would disable two of your big win cons, which is either Manuel or counter surveillance. And there's the fly on the wall.
Yeah, first steal from paillu here, finding the fly on the wall. Just before that, the Spin Doctor brought back a federal fundraising and I believe the Gaslight. So trying to get those pieces back in the deck.
So again, fly on the wall was not something that was in Table Carnage or other iterations of this type of NEH. What's interesting, I looked at fly on the wall, and what's funny is that, so it says when you score the fly on the wall, give the runner one tag. There was a Wayland agenda, which I played a lot, called Posted Bounty, and it said pretty much the same thing, except you had to forfeit it and take a bad publicity.
Wow.
So just analyzing the evolution of agendas, Posted Bounty made you sacrifice it and take a bad pub. So yeah,
Now you just have to score it. No big.
I think here in the context of this matchup is that like either it's just like another card to force paillu to run. Like that's part of the game here, is that you're trying to overwhelm the runner, which is a little more difficult here. And also possibly a scoring plan. I really do think it's more about overwhelming the runner, but yeah.
Yeah. We see end of the line in hand. On its own won't be enough to kill. I don't know if the list has one or two.
I believe it's one, because I do remember there being Mindscaping, and Mindscaping is much more deadly in this matchup just because you are piling on tags and it doesn't remove them. So that's going to be the notable combo. So then you have a YDL, which is essentially a beanstalk, I think they are, because it's only like 3 credits, but much less than you normally would have for a lot of other more degenerate decks.
Paillu here popping the Gachapon, grabbing a leech, trying to get another source of virus counters up and running.
Yeah, because I think at this point Paillu really wants to hit the end of the line. There hasn't been too much influence shown, but I think that having the list, I think there is a specific amount of influence, and that, again, end of the line is something that's going to stay in hand and just sort of try to be safe by virtue of keep like drawing and drawing and drawing. So yeah.
Right.
And again, there's no ice, so it's like you're going to be able to pretty easily stack up those leech counters.
Right. And also another reason why the Devil Charm was an easy decision to remove from the game off that Gachapon there.
For sure. I will say though, some of the cards are worth installing simply for the degree mill trigger, because it's like you don't want to have to put back your leech and your your leech and your fermenter.
Right. We've got raindrops into HQ, seeing a YDL. I think that stays in hand. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think Paillu assumes that there's at least one kill piece in hand at this point.
Yeah.
Especially with the wage workers gone.
Finding a false lead on the table.
Yeah.
Just out in the open.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, I think part of the goal here is to overwhelm the runner. Also of note, Behold is optional. So rongydoge can choose not to give the tag to not further enable counter surveillance.
Right, which he would know because it's of course top cut open and deck list, so it's a decision that you don't have to think about in every matchup, but in this one in particular.
You also have to pay the money to do it too. I mean, Paillu already has 2 tags, which is enough for like an end of the line mindscaping kill. So you don't necessarily need to be giving more.
Right. Yeah, did not fire and was then trashed promptly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
rongydoge has this habit of shuffling his hand whenever he draws a card, which I don't think I've ever seen anyone do so fastidiously or like with such consistency.
It is very much the sign of a seasoned player, because with these types of decks, you can't afford to give any information to the runner because you're very heavily relying on the hidden information aspect. Ooh. So here, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Paillu may not want to do this, but unfortunately you kind of have to. Otherwise, it's just going to get lost in there.
Yeah.
But
at
AR
this point,
5 points.
Right. At this point, you can probably get up to Hollow Man shenanigans, and there's not enough clicks to go check every face down that it exists. So might as well do this now.
Right.
No more virus counters, which makes Freedom sad, but we'll be back in the virus counters quickly enough.
Yeah. But again, with the hand shuffling, it's like you cannot afford to give your opponent any information. So if like you draw a card, you want to make sure they don't know that you installed the card you just drew, right? That's how you sort of enable the ability to just install agendas naked, is because your opponent doesn't really know for sure at any point.
Paillu running into a Chekist Scion here. That one's not optional, I believe.
Nope.
Getting 1 extra tag and then trashing that, keeping the board clean.
Mm-hmm. And that
I think
you can
as
trash with the freedom ability too, so no money spent there. Freedom cannot trash agendas, notably, because it doesn't say anything about advancement cost. It's only play cost or res cost.
Yeah. There's a sort of, in a world where you could like perfectly remember every face down, is it even worth trashing the checklist at that point? Maybe not, but like in-person play, oftentimes I'll just personally want to get things off the board even if I could let them sit, because I won't be able to remember and might accidentally run it again later.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically you could go mining for tags, but I think that's probably not the best use of your time anyway. So it's like you might as well just trash everything. Yeah. And I think rongydoge would probably just start installing over it anyway, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the last spin doctor is also in the bin. I don't know if he can get it if he has a way to get it back. But that basically just got trashed, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Wage workers.
So another wage workers. You can see that
Installing
end
a
of the line.
Rashida. Installing on some other unknown I couldn't see, and thinking about this last one.
Yeah.
With nothing on paillu's side of the board, do we think that like the kill lines seem difficult given the fact that they probably have like X amount of steel skins in hand, right? Like we can't really know. None of them have been played yet or hit.
Right. I think the concern there was that it was sort of suboptimal to have to do this, which was that you triple installed and then played the YDL, because that's the only way to get the click back. So I think maybe that was why he took a moment to consider what he's gonna do. So also notable that Mindscaping caps out at 3. So you would need like 2 Mindscapings to make a true combo, or like a Reaper function on the board.
Right.
And then of course there's considerations for steel skin, and you know, that is very important there. And then here I believe there's the labor rights where they shuffled back the steel skins.
I believe they shuffled back some. It was the strike funds, the money.
Okay,
one.
Was it strike funds? I think
did. I don't think there's been any steel skins on the board just yet. I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the steel skins are...
be pretty easy. Botulus and our Oroceras crew, both pretty easy options to leave in the trash after that labor rights. Again, we're just gonna see basically no hitting the behold again in HQ. Different behold.
Yep.
Behold doesn't fire in or it could fire in HQ, right? I forget.
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's an
but
most
just choosing
ambushes.
not to there.
Yeah. Again, because it costs money for rongydoge to activate it. Now we have another Oppo. Probably not going to trash the Oppo. Really just looking for that end of the line. Oh, trashing the Oppo though. And what was that?
All right. Rashida.
He just threw out. I can't see. Oh, it's a pinhole, which is also pretty unnecessary at this point.
Yeah.
All right, Reaper. I do think they shuffle back the steel skins, because I remember this play being that they drew a steel skin from the labor rights, and A didn't have one in hand before, so that's why A was able to survive the Reaper function there, because again, the end of the line's in hand, and if there wasn't that steel skin, that would have been a kill. But
right. Do we have a sense of how many Reaper functions this list, so these types of lists tend to run?
Two.
At least
Two
two,
is the
yeah.
standard number.
So it wasn't technically the only option that rongydoge had. The only opportunity rongydoge will have this
Well,
game to try a Reaper function kill, but
no,
deciding
but
to go and see
it was an opportunity in which Freedom had to set back up after the degree mill steal.
right.
So there might not be that time to do a Reaper function setup there. And there's the end of the line.
Yeah, hitting the end of the line, but not being able to trash it without enough virus counters on the board. At least one.
I mean, it's good to know there, but yeah, like, it's important to get rid of those gaslights, because I think at this point, like, knowing that the end of the line is there, paillu knows that there isn't a mindscaping in hand, so you have to prevent rongydoge from drawing that at all costs.
Right.
So I think just trashing the gaslight, trashing any draw things like Rashida, and just trying to build back up counters to try to get rid of the end of the line.
At this point, if there are no steel skins in hand, you need 2 for the mindscaping and 4 for the end of the line. So more than enough money on rongydoge's side of the field. But you have to account for that extra damage every time, so...
Yeah, and again, mindscaping caps out at 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you do... Like, you usually would do mindscaping first, just to make sure you don't hit the steel skins. And also because it doesn't... it doesn't remove the tags, whereas end of the line does. And attitude adjustment puts back fly on the wall and false lead. I don't know how useful false lead is in this matchup, actually. I think there's certain cases, there might be a corner case for it, but I suspect, again, that it's just a matter of trying to stall before getting the mindscaping.
Yep.
There's
another fly on the wall. Yeah, because the tags are being floated, especially, it feels like the game plan is slightly different. There goes the end of the line off of that HQ run.
Yeah, and also the last spin doctor is in the bin, so I don't think there's any way to recur that at this point. So it would have to be like a Reaper function double, like, mindscaping. I think the
at this point,
do
we think? Well, paillu would know this, but do we think there's only one of for the end of the line?
I think so, because you've seen at least 2 wage workers. I would have to. Well, no, paillu has the list, so paillu knows.
Here's the third spin doctor.
Oh,
actually,
the third
is being
spin
popped
doctor
right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in the bin for some reason. I think maybe it was like I don't know why I thought that, but I might have gotten it mixed up. But yeah, there is a third spin doctor, obviously putting back the end of the line. So the kill is turned back on. It is like it's likely multiple attitude adjustments, and I think it's only 1 hollow man, so I think any potential kill, like, scoring plan, well, I don't think the deck scores out at all, actually, but I think this is where I mean, if I was in this situation, I think I would attempt to score out, but I think that it's it would be much harder. So here's another wage
Yeah.
workers.
There's still. I don't know how many Hollow Men are in the list, but there's at least one still in archives. Last we checked.
And I don't think there's really a way. Yeah, it's pretty rough at this point. You don't know if the end of the line is in hand, but I think you always have to assume it's there.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like not trying to trash. I mean, a lot of times too, it's like not trashing the wage workers off the top of R&D is like just, you probably wouldn't even trash anything unless it was the end of the line, just to make sure that he doesn't get closer to drawing it at all.
Yeah.
Maybe this deck has an SIU. I don't know, but that's also pretty useless.
Two federal fundraisings being raised at the beginning of this turn. Really gonna dig on this turn, probably. Get an next 2 draws at the beginning.
Slightly risky. Just because of all the drawing. But I think you're pretty desperate at this point to try to get your kill pieces.
Yeah. It's just been sick rip after sick rip on the on the runner side, so which always does seem like the big weakness of this sort of deck with a lot of small agendas is like the draw doesn't come up your way. Sometimes it can be really hard to find the agenda to score if it keeps getting pinged off the top.
And I mean, again, paillu not wasting time on the wage workers because that's not really enabling the kill combo. You're really hyper focused on not dying at this point.
Yeah. Hot Pursuit running HQ, getting 9 credits before the access. Very helpful.
This could potentially be game.
Yeah, if there's an agenda in hand, we might see it.
There's probably at least one.
YDL. I think we've seen that YDL 3 times now, if I'm counting correctly.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, just like trying to stay at 5, like even with the federal fundraising, having to just install as much as possible and then having to draw more. It's like you want to keep your hand as full as possible, just because there probably is a couple agendas in there just with R&D thinning out a bit, and the fact that this deck has a lot of agendas, I'm pretty sure.
Finding a Reaper function on the table.
Yeah.
Good to get rid of.
Yeah, because absent the Mindscaping, the Reaper function is your next best bet for the kill, especially since, again, when you do the 2 damage, it can avoid the steal. Like, this is what you did back in the day, is that you would play Traffic Accident and then your Scorched Earth to hopefully
the counter surveillance.
To hopefully avoid the Steel Skins, and then your opponent has to take more damage than they have in their hand. All right, we're gonna see 4 cards.
And it's right on the top. That's the game. Didn't
the
even need the counter surveillance, but that threat constantly being there really does change how rongydoge
notably
had to play.
Notably the second game where counter surveillance pops off. It's the first agenda. It's the first card up the top.
It's the first agenda.
Yeah,
that was I mean, honestly, like if I was in the runner position there, I would have been sweating that whole game, just because you can never really know when the corpus is gonna have all the pieces ready and boom, it's game over because of the specific matchup. So shout outs, congrats to paillu for game well run. Go on to meet up with Sokka in the finals of U.S. East Coast Nats 2024. That video will be over on Neon Static, who has been collaborating with us. We've been ping-ponging back and forth, so shout-outs to them also for sending over all of the graphics that you see. They've been helping us get all of these videos edited. I do the edit, but all of the fancy graphics that you see were created by Eric, and he actually recently made a video over at Neon Static about how to make your own versions of these graphics that you see on screen. So if you're interested in doing that sort of thing, go check that out. It's a good video. Shout outs real quick to Not Again for running the tournament. We've got thanks for Yasengrin for judging the tournament. Shout outs to Kevin, of course, who recorded all of these videos that you've been seeing throughout this collaboration with Neon Static. And also for always bringing a printer to these tournaments on the the Northeast corridor tournaments. He's always got a printer there for anyone to print proxies. It's just he's the nicest guy. Thank you, Eli, for joining me tonight to record this commentary. And thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.